Hey, Schmack-a-Magab, everybody, another donation from Mr. Michael Rogers, who wanted me to put Van Halen 2 versus Restless and Wild. You see I had Udo sign it. I prefer the other album cover with the two guitars burning, but you see where Udo signed it? That makes it cooler because of the autograph. I love them both, but this one is the best. My second favorite Van Halen album, and except Can't Mess with Van Halen. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. So here we go. We start with You're No Good, No Good. That song rips. Well, it doesn't rip. You know what rips? As Fast as a Shark, the opening to Restless and Wild. And I love that Van Halen cover, but I am going with Accept on that one, man. All right, next. Dance the Night Away versus Restless and Wild. This hurts, but I'm going with Restless and Wild. I love Dance the Night Away. You don't understand. But Restless and Wild is just too epic. Look at that, out the gate. Bam, bam. Accept is beating up Van Halen, man. All right, next. Somebody Get Me a Doctor versus Ahead of the Pack. Van Halen, definitely. Fucking song rips, wins. All right, next. Bottoms Up versus Shake Your Heads. Again, another one for Van Halen, man. Bottoms Up, bro. All right. Next, Out of Love Again, my favorite song off the album versus Neon Nights. Great song, but I am going with Van Halen again. All right, now it's time to pick a random album, and let's go on this side. Let's go way up here. Overkill, White Devil Armory. I opened for Overkill on this tour in Tampa, and it was awesome. This was the last good one. I don't like any album that came after. I think it's only two. Wings of War and Scorched. No, thank you. This one is the last great one, I think. We'll see what happens in the future. All right. Next, Light Up the Sky versus Get Ready. No contest. Van Halen, man. All right, next. Spanish Guitar versus Demon Knight. I gotta go with Accept on that one. Love Spanish Fly, but Demon Knight is classic. All right, next. DOA versus Flash Rockin' Man. This hurt. You know, Flash Rockin' Man was the first song I heard off Restless and Wild that made me go out and buy it. It was on the Metal Shop, The Only Show with Teeth. They played that song, and I was like, damn, that song rules. And it hurts. I'm going with DOA. It hurts. They found a dirty-faced kid in a garbage can. All right, next. Woman in Love versus Don't Go Stealing My Soul Away. Both great, but I'm going with Van Halen again. Something so awesome about Woman in Love. And also, I'll never forget the vision. I was second row at the Women and Children First tour. And Eddie came right in front of us and played the intro to Woman in Love. Unbelievable concert memory. That whole show was unbelievable. Couple things happened in that show that I'm going to talk about one of them, all right? Back then, you hear that noise? That crick? That's not my couch. It's my bones because I'm old. Because back then, there was this thing called On TV, right? On TV was this thing that here in South Florida, there was this channel 51. Channel 51 that would turn into On TV like at 8 o'clock, and it becomes scrambled if you didn't have On TV. Well, during the show, David Lee Roth said, Hollywood, Florida, I'm going to make you movie stars. You're going to be on TV. And like 3 road crew guys come out with big ass cameras, and we're all going nuts. I'm all the way up front like, I want to be on TV. Well, I always remembered that, and they never released the footage, right? But then about 20 years ago or so, I read the book, the Daily Roth book, Crazy from the Heat, and he talked about that tour. Every night they'd bring out roadies with cameras, and there was no film in the camera. Every night he did it. So there you go. I went and yapped about Van Halen during a Van Halen track by track. And what do you know? It's just a memory I'll never forget. Women in Love in front of me. All right, the last song, Beautiful Girls versus Princess of the Dawn. Man, that's a tough one. I went back and forth, and then at the end I was like, Van Halen, I gotta give it a Beautiful Girls, you know? Anyway, Michael, this is the final score. And hey, man, you know, only won by 2, man. Restless was keeping up. Good shit. Thank you, Michael. I hope you enjoyed your donation, brother. And everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed this. If you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and ring that little notification bell. I would appreciate that. And like the video. It's good for the YouTube algorithm. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.